a big show for you tonight, guys. Big show. I'm excited. Rumor has it, people are speculating Dana White lied to Donald Trump ahead of the UFC White House card. Man, it's getting crazy. People are saying there are big problems with the UFC White House card. Joe Rogan has issues. Trump has made some claims. Dana agreed to the claims. Now the claims are changing. It's getting crazy, guys. We're going to get into all that. Plus, Ariel Helwani, the what do we call him? Journalist, says that Dana White is lying about another subject. Ariel's absolutely wrong. Just, for the record, I don't think Dana lied to Trump. I think that this is what happens when big productions happen. We're going to get into all that. Ariel says Dana's lying. Okay. So Ariel's doing what Ariel does, which is he's holding a grudge against Dana because Ariel pulled a scumbag move back in the day, got himself kicked out of the UFC press room, and now he's holding a grudge. He's going in on Dana over anything he can possibly find. We're going to get into all that. Colby Covington, your favorite RAF wrestler and mine, beat Chris Weidman. This is big news because Colby just retired from the UFC and now he is full-time Real American Freestyle. He also invested in the company. We're going to get into all that. Plus, I watched Nina Drama workout with Armin Sarukian on her recent Nina Drama stream. I didn't make it through the whole thing, guys. We're going to get into all of that. We are going to get into all of that. Let's go, guys. My name is King David MMA. I'm a professional mixed martial arts champion, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. I coach at Extreme Couture, the best gym on the planet, bar none. And I train on the pro team there. Let me check the chat and we're going to get right into it, guys. I was teaching the all levels MMA this morning and UFC star Chris Curtis pulled up. Shout out to Chris Curtis, the action man. He pulled up and he helped teach class. So that was a surprise. Shout out to him. He showed some good stuff about how to break someone down from turtle. No telling what might happen. King David MMA pulls up to teach class. Next thing you know, you got Chris Curtis in the class teaching as well, right? That's why it's always important whenever I'm teaching to pull up at Extreme Couture. Let's go, guys. All right, let me read this chat. Also, guys, pretend I knew how to work a computer or a webcam or any form of video camera other than my phone, because this is the front facing cam. So what you're about to read is backwards. This is Real One shirt. You can get your Real One shirt in the chat. It'll appear the other way for you when you see it, and it's a little bit different font. But peep that. Also, make sure you follow Fight Circus at Fight Circus, home of the Freak Show fights, at Fight Circus on Instagram. And make sure you send your coach to Studio Millions. They'll grow their gym. Your coach will love you. It's so freaking easy, man. It doesn't have to be complicated. We can change people's lives through martial arts, and your coach can make bank. Let me take a sip of this. So I don't know, guys, does this have caffeine in it? I've drank 3 of these today. This is Alpine Rush. Oh, Alpine Blast. Poppy soda. I don't think it has caffeine, guys. I had like 4 energy drinks already, so I think we'll be good. But we got John Hogan in the chat. Dude, every time I read your name, I read it John Morgan, like the MMA Junkie host from back in the day. What's up, everyone? John Hogan in the chat. Big wave. We got Arpan, the Don Arpan Patel. Just got here. Real One Zone. You already know, man. Yes, super chats are enabled, guys. So I make sure I read every single super chat and I respond to every comment that has some form of good energy attached to it, or at least genuine. You know what I mean? Like if you got a problem with the stream or something, I'm open to that constructive criticism, but let's get right into it, man. The rumor going around is that Dana White lied to Donald Trump ahead of the UFC White House. And the reason this rumor is going around is because Donald Trump was on and the UFC White House card is happening in like 2.5, 3 weeks. So that's the next big event for the UFC. And Donald Trump, when it first got announced, said there's going to be like 7 title fights on there. Oh, the whole thing is going to be title fights. And, Dana kind of let him say that. And now it got implied that Dana went along with that. And now the issue is that there's not that many title fights. There's what, 2 title fights on there? The bigger problem is this. People are saying that Trump fucked up because he didn't go through the card and he doesn't maybe understand exactly what's happening, but there's not a lot of Americans on the card. So when Ilia Topuria, who's the favorite, potentially beats Justin Gaethje, it's going to be a bad look for the whole fucking card. It's going to be a bad look for America. It's going to be a bad look for Trump's birthday. And it's going to be a bad look for everybody involved with the UFC White House. That's a big problem, right? So people are speculating that Dana kind of did the bait and switch on Trump. I don't believe that's what happened. I believe exactly what happened is this. So if you guys are hearing anything crazy, I'm going to break it down for you so you guys know exactly what really went down. So they sent out like fishing lines. Like, hey guys, hey John Jones, if you were to fight at the UFC White House, how much money would you want? Oh, I'd want 30 mil. Okay. We'll offer you 15 mil. Okay, he didn't want that. Right? So these aren't actual offers. These are potential offers. So they went out. Trump's like, give me 7 title fights. UFC's contractually obligated to Paramount Plus to have a certain number of events with title fights. It would be nearly impossible for them to have 7 title fights while still honoring their contract agreement with Paramount Plus. So that's not happening. So they got to get the biggest and best fights they can for the UFC White House. Well, one issue is that if they put Conor on, he's going to sell tickets. And if they take him off an event where he can sell tickets, they're losing additional revenue. They're already down $60 million at the UFC White House in production costs. They're making $30 million back with sponsorships. I heard they're selling some, big money tickets to super influential like world leaders and, billionaire types. But aside from that, they're essentially hemorrhaging money, right? So they can't have, let's say, Conor on the show. They can't have the 7 UFC world title fights because of contractual agreements to Paramount Plus. And then they're moving forward, trying to find out who they can actually get without hemorrhaging any more money. They have a certain budget that they're trying to stay within. And when they get somebody like John Jones, who is saying, oh, well, we were in talks, they're trying to see, like, what's fucking absolutely possible. And then they bring it to Dana. So when Dana says, I was never in talks with John Jones, John was never fighting at the White House. Just because, let's say, Hunter Campbell went to John Jones and said, hey, would you fight for 15 million? He's collecting everybody that says yes to, hey, would you fight for $1 million? Would you fight for 500,000? Would you fight for 300,000? Would you fight at the White House? Would you fight on this day? Would you fight? And then he's bringing all the yeses to Dana. And then Dana's going through, okay, this guy, oh, Kobe Covington, no. John Jones, no. And then Dana's filtering them before they make actual offers. So now the internet is speculating that Dana promised Trump 7 title fights. Dana lied to him, which didn't happen. And then the internet is speculating that Trump fucked up, thinking that all these title fights were going to be like American wins, which isn't the case. That's not the way that the card was made. The card was made by sending out feelers to everybody on the roster who could potentially be involved with the White House, taking those positive responses back to Dana saying, here's who everybody who's available. Let's start to matchmake. Dana goes through that list, filters out all his hard nose, which includes like John Jones, and then they make matches, right? So let's say Kobe Covington's one of them. Oh, we don't really want Kobe. Well, what about for Bo Nickel? Dude, if Kobe wants to go up and fight Bo Nickel, well, then he's a yes. But other than that, he's a no. Okay, they offer the Bo Nickel fight to Kobe. Hey, would you fight Bo Nickel? He's like, dude, I don't want to fight at that weight class. They're like, cool, you're off the roster. We're going to get into Kobe in a second because he retired and now he's invested in RAF, which some people would say is a competitive product to the UFC. We'll get into all that. Anyway, that's how the White House card got made. The bigger issue is that people are saying that it's not a very American card. I want to see 100% Americans win every fight. I'm biased. That's how I operate, right? Let's get super patriotic. Let's make the UFC White House memorable. I want F-16s with fucking red, white, and blue smoke going overhead. You know what I mean? And I'm hoping Justin Gaethje can pull it off set his gloves down, smoke overhead, holding the belt. You know what I mean? The White House in the background, make a memorable moment, KO Ilya Topuria stiff, and bounce with the belt. That would be the storybook ending for Justin Gaethje. And I would recommend Justin Gaethje retire on that note because, listen, man, you ain't going to get a better ending than that, right? So, other than Justin Gaethje, who is a severe underdog, there's not too many Americans. So, Sugar Sean O'Malley is fighting Ariel, is fighting Faraz Zahabi's brother. And Sugar Sean should win that, but he's fighting a Canadian. Bo Nickel is fighting, what is his name? Kyle Dawkins. I believe they're both American, so an American's going to win there. Michael Chandler is fighting, what's the name? Huffy? Yeah, he's fighting Huffy and Ruffy, and he's probably not going to do well. So that's probably going to be an American L. Some people are saying that Ilya is going to KO Justin Gaethje. That's another American L, right? And so, like, how does this reflect on Trump and his American dominance message, right? So, did Trump fuck up, right? Should he have been more strict and said, listen, we need American wins all down the card? I don't think that Trump actively fucked up. I don't think he like was involved in the actual matchmaking and picked, I want that guy to fight that guy. But I feel like he trusted it to the team. The team brought back what they could within their budget, and it's not exactly American themed. So that's what's going on with the White House card. So if the rumors are out there saying that Dana lied to Trump, guess what, guys? Dana didn't lie to Trump. It's just a situation where they have prior obligations. Trump's not super involved. I mean, he's got a whole fucking bunch of other shit going on that people are upset about. And now we're getting some crazy ass fights at the White House. I'm excited for the White House card, even though it's not what. Fuck, dude. Why? Why not just Americans versus cans? You know what I'm saying? Why couldn't we just do that, guys? For one show, can't we just get a win? Can't we just get a win as a country? At least give us that. You know what I'm saying? All right. So also, Ariel Helwani says Dana White's lying about another subject, right? So I don't believe Dana White lied to Trump. I believe Dana was probably very clear. Trump assigned him the task. Hey, go figure it out. Dana came back. These are great fights. Trump is a fan, but he's not a super fan. He's like, oh, that sounds great. Let's run it. Boom. Now we're going to get a bunch of non-Americans winning fights at the White House. I guess that's good for international relations or something. Anyways, Ariel says Dana White is absolutely lying. He's making bold claims about Dana. Ariel, who is not welcome amongst the UFC press and media, is still attacking Dana, and he's saying that Dana White is lying because Dana did an interview recently. He was at the Brand Risk MMA event where I was with 6ix9ine and Steve Will Do It and everybody. And Dana was announcing at Brand Risk, and the interviewer for Brand Risk interviewed him. And they asked, hey, man, we want to know, did you drop the Conor McGregor announcement during Francis Ngannou's walkout on purpose as an attack against Jake Paul and MVP Most Valuable Promotions on Netflix? Dana said, man, fuck no, bro. You think I'm worried about those buster ass beanie babies? No, man, I'm not worried about anybody else. Ariel's counter to this argument says, then why would you announce it on an Instagram Live? This is the biggest freaking fight announcement in 5 years. You have a UFC event happening. You didn't put together a production for it and announce it or anything on the UFC production. You just dropped an Instagram Live. That doesn't even make any sense. And you dropped it during the MVP card during Francis Ngannou's walkout, who is the biggest star to ever leave the UFC, and he's the only fighter to leave with the UFC world title, and you just happen to drop the Conor McGregor announcement during Francis's walkout. And then Ariel's little buddy in the background, he's saying, oh man, I don't know why Dana blatantly lies like this. Why does he just lie? Why doesn't he just admit it, right? And so I know it's hard for people to process, but in the event that Dana did drop that intentionally. Dana's best play as a business owner, as a businessman, as the president of the UFC, is not to address MVP as a threat. When you are the number one in the space, you don't even acknowledge number two. Burger King can attack McDonald's. McDonald's cannot fire back at Burger King without giving Burger King added legitimacy. In pro wrestling, my uncle was Hulk Hogan. It's called the rub. If you get in there with Hulk Hogan, win or lose, you've now had a match with Hulk Hogan. You get the rub. It's like you get part of their brand by their brand interacting with you. So if the UFC admits to counter programming MVP, they are giving MVP the rub and assigning MVP a value, saying, hey, this Netflix card is a threat to us, right? And that elevates them. If Dana White plays it down, Dana's doing the correct business strategy move, like a chess piece, like he's moving his chess pieces correctly by not giving them any fuel to ignite their fire. Does that make sense? So that's hypothetically what Dana would be doing in the event that Dana was actually counter-programming them, which he may not even have been. Dana's claim is that the Conor McGregor deal got done right then, and they just said, you know what, we're going to announce this immediately. So they announced it immediately, and it just happened to be during Francis's walkout. Now, whether you believe that or not, it doesn't do Dana any good to say that it was counter-programming. Now you're giving Jake Paul and Netflix credibility in the space. You're enabling your competitor. You're saying that there's a competition going on, that they're a worthy adversary. Or you could play it off like, dude, I don't even pay attention to them, dude. We're doing our own thing. We're announcing Conor McGregor, the biggest star on the planet. We're not worried about whoever the fuck is over there. Oh, Francis walked out. Oh, Francis is still fighting. Oh, dude, last time I checked, the guy didn't sell any pay-per-view, so we didn't miss him when he left. That's the attitude of the number one in the space, right? And now I get that the dude sitting behind Ariel Helwani in the studio may not understand that, but he also didn't do a $7 billion deal with Paramount. So maybe it's not for him to understand, right? So anyways, that's the behind the scenes of the business of it all, right? We got Lika in the building with the double thumbs up. What's up? How you doing? Hello. And in other news, another American fighter who was not on the White House card, but everybody said he should have been, is Colby Covington. Whether you agree with that or not, Colby retired from the UFC after being ixnayed off the White House card. And people are saying it's because he was not on the White House card that he retired. He is now an investor in Real American Freestyle, and he had his big matchup with Chris Weidman, who was the favorite going in. Chris Weidman, former UFC world champion at a weight class above Colby's, who I believe has more esteemed wrestling credentials than Colby. He's accomplished more in actual wrestling than Colby did. At a higher weight class, went in and Colby beat him. Colby freaking beat him, man. So shout out to Colby Covington. Colby seems to be going with a more authentic version of Colby rather than the hard MAGA everything version, you know, and I like the authentic Colby, okay? So shout out to Colby. My uncle Hulk Hogan was also part of RAF, Real American Freestyle, before he passed away. Him, Eric Bischoff, and a couple other guys got together. They built Real American Freestyle as a way to honor the actual, like, amateur wrestlers in a professional way. Not professional wrestling like WWE, but like amateur style wrestling, Olympic style wrestling, but paying the guys and making it a big stage with a lot of production. So RAF is taking off, man. Armin Sarukian just won again. He beat a YouTube influencer, Instagram influencer named Muggsy. And Muggsy's got a positive message and everything like that, but in terms of wrestling credentials, I'm not sure if he should be in there with Armin. Armin tech falled him. And speaking of Armin, I watched the Nina drama stream where she works out with Armin Sarukian and his strength and conditioning coach, Sam Calavita, who was responsible for Khamzat Chimaev's conditioning, and Khamzat gassed in the fight, and they blame it on the weight cut. And Arman and Khamzat both have the same weight cut specialist, and Arman allegedly didn't make weight, but he pulled out with a neck injury for his title fight, and then Khamzat offered Sean Strickland $1 million to not make weight because Khamzat was having trouble making weight. So there's a lot of drama going on, and if that's the only thing you heard, you would probably be kind of biased against Sam Calavita. So I don't know too much about the dude. I know he has guys doing really, really intense workouts. Some people are saying the guys get burnt out because they're doing too much strength and conditioning and not enough martial arts as a primary form of conditioning. But Sam seems like a cool guy. That's what I got out of the stream. I couldn't even watch the whole stream. So I'm starting to realize that also, man, I saw another stream with Armin and Nina, and Armin didn't know how old Nina is. And she was like, "Oh, I'm 37." He's like, "What? You could be my sugar mama, you know?" So that was kind of wild. Yeah, Nina Drama, 37. You know, she's out here doing her thing, right? So shout out to her. Showing the age ain't nothing but a number, guys. You know, as which is crazy because I'm dating a fucking full-on dime piece, international model, Instagram model, Chinese genius who happens to be 20 years younger than me. And that's not why I'm dating her. I'm dating her because she's smart and we have a connection and like we have chemistry. You know what I'm saying? We vibe. We talk about we sit in the grass together and just talk about philosophy and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, right? But yeah, we talk about age a lot because we do have an age difference. And it's interesting how age is perceived in society. And Nina Drama is kind of breaking a lot of those barriers because she's on kick and she's active with a younger audience. And I don't think until people ask her, I don't think anybody knows she's 37. So shit, man, she's holding it down. She's holding it down for the 30 somethings. All right. Shout out to Nina Drama. And watching her work out with Armin was kind of, for me at least, not really watchable. I had to change the channel. I like watching her do crazy shit with Sean Strickland where they go like dirt biking and shit. You know, the stretch workout with Armin wasn't for me, but that's, everybody has their own flavor that they like, right? So that's not what I was into, but I did see Sam Calavita in the video and the dude seems cool. Okay. Not that I would like go do strength and conditioning with him. I think he could get you into a lot of good shape for a lot of things. It's just for me, I'm more of the GSP style conditioning, where GSP would use strength and conditioning as like a supplemental, very supplemental addition, like a minor addition to his training regimen. So GSP, like once, I think it was once, maybe twice a week, would run like very hard. He would warm up warm up for 30 minutes straight. And then he would go run 400-meter sprints, which is essentially one lap around a like a quarter-mile track. And he would run that sprint as hard as he could, and he would do like, I think he did 8 of them. And that was his strength and conditioning workout for that. And then that was his conditioning workout. And his strength workout was either doing like some form of gymnastics or doing water workouts, right? With resistance in the water. And that way it was easier on his body and his body could recover so he could do more martial arts training. That's the critique against Sam stuff, is that maybe they're doing too much, too hard on the body can't recover. I'm sure he's got a scientific protocol to like check their resting heart rate and their HRV scores. So I'm sure that he's on top of it, making sure that they are recovering for their martial arts workouts. I just happen to lean more into the GSP school of things, where I train a lot of martial arts and then I run a little bit of sprints. But hey, I mean, I won a belt at 44, but it's not TJ Dillashaw who won a UFC world title. So TJ saying Sam's the way to go. GSP is saying sprints and supplemental strength conditioning like gymnastics workouts or water workouts are the way to go. I'm leaning towards GSP's way, but I think here's the thing. whatever gets you to the fucking big show and gets you the dub is the thing to do. So if that works for them, good for them. Shout out to them. Shout out to Sam Calavita. And if you like the other way, then maybe you fuck with GSP's protocol, man. It's online. You can find it. He talks about it for free. And yeah, man, if you're preparing for an MMA fight, you might feel like you're not doing enough, but I feel like, so the theory that I got is right. Like there's this, can you perform your techniques over the course of the fight for the whole fight? If the answer is yes, then you're strength and conditioned enough. If the answer is no, you need to be better conditioned, right? And so when I was coaching, when I was training Felony Charles Bennett for his big knockout win in Knucklemania, one of the things that we did were the 3 C's, right? Which is confidence. Are you confident you can win? Well, the best way to be confident is to be competent. So if you're competent, right? If you know the techniques, you know when to use them, you have a competency. Well, then that can give authentic confidence because it's not overconfident. Because if you're confident without competency, you are overconfident. You have no reason to be confident. You can't do the thing. But if you can do the thing and you know you can do the thing, then you have the correct level of competence. And you have the correct level of confidence based on that competence, right? So you can do the thing and you believe you can do the thing. The problem is some guys can do the thing, but they can't continue to do the thing. That's where they need conditioning, right? So if you have the cardio and the conditioning, right, and you have the confidence to do it, and you have the competence to execute it, now you got a 3-stage fucking bulletproof program, and that's why Felony was so confident going into the fight where he knocked the dude through the fucking ropes because he knew his cardio was on point, his conditioning was on point. He knew that he could be competent, and that those two combined led to an insane level of confidence. Anyways, that's my theory on this shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just over here winning belts at 44 and still fighting at 45 years old. You know, that you take it or leave it, guys. Take it. I could just present it to you, right? And you can choose to do what you want to. I'm not here to tell anybody what to do. And I believe never, 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 never give advice unless it's like life threatening, right? Unless somebody asks. So, anyways, all right, guys, that's tonight's stream. I absolutely love you guys. Oh, somebody said 45. Yup. I know, right? God-given jawline. What? I know, right? I'm aging in reverse. I am aging in reverse. And here's the thing, when I go out, my girlfriend is 25. When we go out together, people think we're twins. You know what I'm saying? It gets weird. It gets weird because she's Asian now. They're like, what? You got, yeah, how are you guys looking like you're the same age, but you're different? I would assume that you guys were identical twins, except she's Asian and you're white. I don't understand how that's possible. And I'm like, listen, man, we're out here. We're really out here. Listen, I might unbutton my shirt next fucking episode. No telling what I might do. Anyways, guys, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you tomorrow. And if you got notifications on, no telling what time I might go live, man. It might be 3 p.m. tomorrow. It might be 8 p.m. That's why it's important to have notifications on. All right, guys, peace.